What is going on, everybody, and welcome to another weekly update. And as you can see, these past couple of weeks have just been absolutely parabolic, mind blowing. And I know to every technical analysis that is out there, they are saying, "Yeah, this is not normal." Yes, our this market has been completely driven by the Fed. Every news event by the Fed causes us to go up or down. 100% Fed on every move the market is making right now. Technical analysis really doesn't matter. Aside from levels still play out, but they may be temporary. As far as like patterns, they are not playing out. It just goes up. So your supply zones are truly supply zones, and your demand zones are demand zones. But you have to realize that there is so much strength to the upside right now. Uh, we're going to see this in the next couple weeks, I believe. We still have to be mindful. We still have to be cautious. Again, this move is extremely, this is not normal at all. Uh, this is almost a straight up movement. Uh, but being said, before we get more into that, let's go ahead and break out what is going on this week. I have a couple different things going on. Earnings I'm looking at is Upstart, NVDA, Coin, Trading Desk, PayPal, all this week. There's still plenty of more out there. These are just ones I'm watching. Again, if there's some other earnings that does really well, I might actually play that. Like Airbnb is another one of them. Destroyed earnings last night and just parabolic today. It hit over 200 today. One of the ones that I actually talked about earlier this year that I think would go 10x. And essentially has I think the lows were 140 a couple months ago on Airbnb, and it was pretty rough there for a while, but it's definitely gaining ground, and it's getting right back up there as far as where I thought it would be by the end of the year and catching up after this whole pandemic. So being said, there was a lot of good news, right? We have to still remember that everything that is going on is essentially uh, a lot of people are essentially going to a new norm, right? A lot of people don't think that everything that is happening with the pandemic and everything is that critical anymore. And we're seeing that in some of the numbers. Things are getting better. Yes, inflation is there, but we have to remember that there was a supply issue because of the shock of the pandemic, and we're still trying to play catch up with that stuff. And so there was mass orders that went through. Now we have these millions of ships sitting out, just trying to offload everything, right? You have to understand, because people back ordered so much because of what happened. Again, because it was out of the blue, the pandemic completely out of the blue, and why everything is havoc as it is. And then we have to also remember that we've printed 40% of all the money in this past year. So being said, that we will have these parabolic moves, and they're not just going to go away. It's going to take time. And I know everybody keeps saying crash, 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 and we're going to run forever. I don't believe we're going to run forever. But ever since people have been pricing it in, even since like Trump last year, we had a V shape. We came straight out of that, right? We have to even believe. I believe the dot-com bubble lasted for 2.5 years. Right, so you have to remember that, and that was mostly based off of hype, right? That wasn't based off of this massive amount of money injected that we have right now, and continues to float out there. So we might have 2 or 3 years of this massive run before there's any crash. We have to also remember that we just had a crash last year. Crashes are rare. We have a lot of things within the market that help protect the market from crashing. So being said, I don't see it crashing. Next year, will we correct? Yes. I believe, again, early next year we'll correct. As far as this year goes, I think we'll be pretty strong. We'll do a lot of sideways action and continue to be parabolic. And we'll see a lot of these crazy moves like this. Not saying, because, I mean, you look back, right, in September, October, we did do some selling. We have to remember we did do some selling, but this is prime time right now, and this is why we're getting this parabolic move here. But being said, for earnings, this is what I have. This is what I'm looking at. I want to play continuation. And then again, events as far as this week, there's a lot of data that comes out this week. Again, none of that in my mind really matters. Powell has come on. He's completely cleared the air. What's going on? No rate raises till next year. So the tapering is going to start happening on the bonds, which is something people like. And then we have, again, Veterans Day on Wednesday. So that means the market is open, but the bond market will be closed. So we have to remember that. So volume will probably be very low on Thursday, and then possibly even on Friday as well. We might get an influx of volume on Friday. Really just depends. And then we got the holidays right around the corner from that. So that's something you got to keep in mind. As far as watch list, I got Facebook Shop, Upstart, Coin, Amazon, and Beyond Meat. Now these are I'm thinking there's going to be influx in these because your Teslas, your Google, and I'm trying to think what other ones. But your Microsoft, Apple's kind of been pretty disappointing, but those three have really been pushing very hard over this whole thing and kind of guided the market up. So do I believe they can still go up? They could possibly still go up, but I think you're going to find that there's better moves in these particular stocks. That's why I'm aiming at these. Because also there's so much premium baked into your Amazons and your Teslas right now because of these parabolic moves that they've had. They got to have a time to cool off. And so that's what we're looking for. We're trying to give it some time to cool off, let those premiums die down a little bit, and try to play some of these other ones that, the premium isn't so high. And again, Facebook, a lot of these are still been beaten down. Shop has some room. Amazon, again, been beaten down, just starting. Maybe something I want to play, may not. If we get a little bit of a pullback, maybe the premium cools down a little bit on this, but I want to watch that. So, and then again, a lot of these Up and Coin have earnings, so I want to see how they do this week. So being said, it's going to be interesting. Parabolic move, but we did finally see some pulling back today, but then we started pulling back on Friday, but then we started kind of pushing towards the end of the day. So that was interesting. Monday, I'm kind of hoping we open flat and sell off Monday morning, give us position, and then start going back up is what I'm thinking. But we'll have to see. Again, there's so much with inflation and people trying to gauge against inflation, so they're buying equity in the stock market and trying to do that. But we'll see how it plays out. Again, I think you do need to be cautious at these levels. I've been being very cautious at these levels and haven't been doing a lot of swings. A lot of the moves during the day are big enough that you don't even have to swing anything. It's just finding what has momentum and sticking with that. It's back to that strategy and why I trade beta stocks a lot, because the parabolic moves come in the beta stocks mostly. And so you watch those will give you the gauge on what is actually going on. When those die out, then you get a small rotation into mid cap, small cap, which goes about a couple days, and then it refluxes back into your larger cap stocks. So being said, let's take a look at Facebook. Why I really like Facebook, because we essentially got this break. We've had all this bad news with it. And so now we're breaking out of that. One thing to keep in mind is it wanted to really run today, but got rejected at the 346. I was looking to buy it here at the 339 mark, essentially where the 50-day moving average is, for a retest. Hopefully it holds that. I don't know if we're going to actually pull all the way back down to the 20 to test the wedge, the trend line on the daily, but definitely I want to see how this plays out on Monday. Again, kind of hoping we have like flat and a little bit more of a pullback. Yes, I would like it to go parabolic all the time, but I'm not trying to load up here. When these parabolic moves happen, you want it to come down, retest, kind of flatten out a little bit, and then continue up forward. So kind of looking for that retest around this area. If we could get down to 33, 334, that'd be great. But that may not even be possible. I think we're just going to hit this 339 and then possibly continue up. Again, with the whole renaming and meta and everything, that really kind of got Facebook running more parabolic now that Tesla, Amazon, and Microsoft have really been doing some damage. Shop is just one I want to keep on watch because e-commerce has kind of been, they haven't been running too hot. I think it's got a lot more room. And then we did get a retest here, as you can see on the daily. So we might actually start running more parabolic. We do want to break this 1592 is a hard stop right there. So that's something you keep on watch this week. But ultimately, if you could load here, essentially around that 1500, which is a solid base, and you definitely don't want to hold anything below that, and see if we start running again. I know this is a lot of these moves have been really parabolic over the past couple of days because of the news with Powell, but we definitely I think there's a lot of positive news in the market. Nothing really that's going to take us down. So we have a positive catalyst to keep pushing us up. And so that's what we're going to do until that news changes. Again, I think it's going to be parabolic like this until we get rate raises, and then you're going to see a major correction in tech, especially. So Upstart is the other one I got. Now, this is why I like Upstart. It's got this nice wedge. I've been playing this over the past couple of days. I didn't want to hold this over the weekend because it does have earnings again on the 9th. I want to see what it does going into earnings, obviously on Monday and then Tuesday. So this is actually going to play out perfectly. I think we're just going to up and down in this essentially this zone that we've been playing the past couple of days, which is essentially what I played. Every time I hit that 322 mark, I would buy in. Caught this parabolic move, sold, bought back in, sold back, this pump up, and then I didn't buy this dip because I didn't want to swing overnight over the weekend. So I want to see how earnings does for this, but I think has great potential. If it does crush earnings, this will definitely be one if it starts making these parabolic moves again, which I think it's going to do. This is definitely one of my number ones to watch for next week. Coin is the other one. Something I've been talking about over and over and over is Bitcoin and where it's headed. Bitcoin's kind of at that level. I think this week, Bitcoin will start making its move up. And so if it starts doing that and trying to test 70K and then going and breaking in price discovery, you can guarantee that coin will be right behind it. As far as earnings, I don't expect it to do great on earnings. I actually expect it kind of pull back, maybe back to the 20 here, to the 309 mark, and then possibly start going back to all-time highs and see how that goes, especially if Bitcoin starts running. So I want to keep that on watch. I already talked about Amazon. BYND is the other one I have. BYND broke with a wedge here. It broke at the this last time and then gapped down. But being said, I think whenever BYND is around this $100 mark, I think it's really a good buy, in my opinion, because it typically does a lot of really parabolic moves out of here. I don't actually recall. I think there was a supply issue here. That's why it completely dived. But aside from that, I mean, it's still been pretty solid. It's actually at a really good buy-in right now. If it does hold this around this 99 mark, this 100 mark, it would be perfect for the coming week. Again, I didn't want to hold anything over the weekend. And typically, what happens is if the market starts selling BYND, a lot of the money flushes into here, and then you get bigger moves in here if FANG and big tech start hurting a little bit. Roblox, it's not on my watch list. Something I do want to watch though. It does have earnings. I didn't list that on here, but it does have earnings as well on the 9th. So this is what I want to watch. I want to see how this does. Don't expect it to do great, but what it did last time. One thing you need to keep in mind with the whole metaverse and all that stuff, it did sell off for earnings, but then the next day it turned around and went absolutely parabolic. So that is actually what I'm looking for this coming week. Maybe do we touch back down to 70 and then start ripping again? 70 is always a good buy for Roblox, in my opinion, or the metaverse. And this is one of the, if you're looking for metaverse stuff, Roblox is definitely one of those. So something I like to definitely keep on watch. Just another shout out is LRCX. Looking for possible pullback here. If we can get a pullback to 580, get a retest of the daily 50, that would be great. The thing is, a lot of these gone parabolic, so that's why I'm kind of talking that we might get a pullback on Monday, and then kind of lead up going into that second leg that's really going to start pushing us on a lot of these. And I think going into again this month and next month, you're going to get that big parabolic move along with Bitcoin. I think we'll do that parabolic move up as well, and then kind of just taper everything off towards the end of the year. Kind of just sit back and wait for the market to correct at that point is what I'm looking for, and trying to be patient around there because I do believe it will correct pretty heavily. I think we'll see a normal size correction this year, but we haven't really seen a normal size correction. Normal size correction is normally around that 12 to 15, and we barely, I think, almost tagged 7 back in March. And in this past correction in October, I think it was close to 5. So it was very diluted. Again, there's a lot of money in the system, so we shouldn't expect a big pullback. But that's essentially what I got for this week. If you've made it this far, remember to hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't done so already. And I'll see you guys next time.